What if I told you that 99% of all jobs will be replaced by AI within 5 years? You might think that's absolutely impossible and downright crazy, but that's exactly what some prominent AI experts and economists are predicting. Do you want to know exactly how this AI jobs displacement will all play out and how you'll be able to retire at any age because of it? Well, by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly how AI could overtake all human jobs and allow you to have permanent financial freedom. So, how and why would you be able to retire in 5 years? Well, it's all explained in this article entitled Scenario Planning for an AGI Future, and it was recently published by the IMF. Now, before we get into this article, let's find out what the IMF actually is and why it's so important. The IMF, or International Monetary Fund, is a worldwide financial organization, and it was created in 1945 after World War II to create financial stability throughout the globe. Its goal now is to protect the entire world from financial disaster. They have various tools in place to help accomplish this goal, and they have their hand in just about every country's financial statements and internal financial planning. And when it comes down to it, the IMF helps countries who are on the verge of economic collapse by giving them multi-billion-dollar loans with the assumption that these loans will be repaid back. Most times, the IMF is the only organization that can save a country who is struggling financially. The struggling country has no choice but to take a loan from the IMF because there's literally no one else to help them at this point. The choice is either to take a loan from this global financial organization with the attached draconian restrictions or die financially and economically. The draconian restrictions can require the country to jack up taxes and devalue their own currency, and this kills the lower and middle classes of these poor countries. But again, at this point, the country doesn't have much of an option. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, these loans end up hurting countries more than helping them. Argentina and Ecuador are just a couple examples of how IMF loans have hurt and not helped countries. As you can see, the IMF has lots of power and leverage over the entire financial world. They basically mold countries into their likeliness, good or bad. Another reason why the IMF is so powerful is because it's basically run by the largest superpower in the world, the United States. Since the US has the most voting power in the IMF, they essentially control this financial organization. No proposal within the IMF can be approved without the United States giving the explicit go-ahead. So the IMF is a thinly covered veil to what is essentially US economic policy that's pushed upon the entire world. The sad thing is that it's just disguised as an institution that helps struggling countries. Kind of nefarious if you ask me. So what the heck does this have to do with AI helping me retire in 5 years? The short answer is a lot. The point of this is to show that the IMF is the puppet master of the world's financial system, and with that comes tons of power and influence. They're so powerful that there's even conspiracy theories out there that the IMF is run by a bunch of elite billionaires who are controlling every aspect of our lives. Now, whether you believe that or not, please take away one thing from this brief history and explanation of the IMF. When the IMF makes a statement, whether you hate them or love them, you should listen to them due to their immense world power and influence. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how AI can influence your retirement. The IMF recently published an article on artificial intelligence on their website. It's entitled Scenario Planning for an AGI Future. The article details 3 unique scenarios of how artificial intelligence will play out in the coming years. The first scenario describes a world where AI makes humans more productive at what they do, ultimately making us progress technologically at an exponential rate. What took hundreds of years in the past could be solved overnight with human and AI collaborations. Diseases could be cured in months or days. Space travel to Mars could happen in years and not decades, and on and on. This could be done because humans won't have to do the mind-numbing 9-to-5 work tasks like data entry, writing reports, serving customers, or research anymore. AI would do all that work for humans, freeing up our time throughout the day. Humans would then use that time to work on much more complex tasks like curing cancer and space exploration. So now let's move on to scenario number 2 from this article. Scenario 2 states that AI will replace all human jobs except for a few like religious priests and government judges within 20 years from today. This means that humans would no longer have traditional jobs and would no longer be paid as well. Your income would be $0 per year. That's right, $0. Now wait 1 second. You might be thinking, what the heck are you talking about? Humans need money to survive. I've got to pay my rent and mortgage, my Netflix subscription, my new iPhone, my $50 yoga class, and my $8 daily coffees. Well, according to this scenario, in as little as 20 years, everything humans currently know about working hard and saving money would be completely upended. Humans would essentially need universal income in order to survive, meaning some kind of government, system, or agency would be in charge of dispersing any and all money to each and every human being on Earth. That's a scary thought, right? I mean, governments usually screw things up about 90% of the time, and this also implies communism, which usually doesn't have a great historical track record. Scenario 3 is exactly the same as the scenario we just went over, except it all happens within 5 years instead of 20. Everything in this case is accelerated and put on steroids. So let's pause here and take a step back and think about what this actually means. If this scenario 3 does play out, that means within 5 years from you watching this video, you'll no longer have to go to work. You'll be officially retired. You'll be sent a check every month to live off of, and you'll never have to work again. It's almost like winning the lottery. But, and this is a big but, there's one huge caveat. That is, your life and future is all determined by AI and some kind of government agency that sends you your monthly allowance. Your freedoms as you know it are basically gone. You'll live under the control and umbrella of some kind of governmental agency, most likely. Not having to ever work again might sound great, but no longer having control of your future is a gigantic red flag for humanity in general. Now, no one knows how all this will play out, so don't get too freaked out. A mandatory retirement could actually be an amazing thing as long as we can all have our freedoms that we're currently used to. And hopefully that does happen. But whatever ends up actually happening, one thing is for sure. The next decade is going to be an extremely interesting time to live. So strap in tight. And with that said, that's it for tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and also subscribe to our email newsletter at fry-ai.com/subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. This is Ryan signing out. Have a great night.